Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Introspection from Grief to Growth. I'm your host, Amy Lindner Lesser. And can you tell by my top and my lipstick what month we're in and what the holiday is? It's February and almost Valentine's Day. Probably one of the three biggest Hallmark holidays there are. Following definitely Mother's Day and maybe Father's Day. And then there's good old Valentine's Day. And for those people who are in stages of grief, wherever you are in the grief process, Valentine's Day is often a difficult holiday. Welcome to Introspection, the podcast about moving from grief to growth. I'm Amy Lindner Lesser, your host. Introspection started out as a podcast about hospitality, innkeeping, and innkeepers. After about a year, I realized that my life and interests have morphed from hospitality to helping others navigate from grief and loss to growth and living. In this new version of Introspection, I will be talking about my personal experiences with loss, and there are quite a few, what I've learned along the way through my professional training, as well as from my coaching experiences. I'll also be bringing in guests to share interesting ideas. So grab a beverage, find a comfy place, take a deep breath, and listen in. The world around us is focusing on love and affection and romance, and we just may not be feeling it. And you know what? It's okay. The biggest lesson that I've learned and what I teach and work with my clients about is to not compare. Comparison really is one of our worst or biggest enemies. Everyone goes through their grief process at a different pace and in different ways. No two grief experiences are the same, even for the same person, or even if you and someone else are experiencing the loss of the same person or same event. For example, multiple layoffs in a company cause grief. You may have been in that job for many years. Your social life may revolve around that job and the people that you work with. And so might your office mate or the person down the hall. Yet we each are going to experience it differently. So the first thing I want to do in this week's podcast is to talk not about love that you have for another person and not about love that you have for maybe what was the thing that you lost, but more about the importance of self-love. That I would like to see us all turn Valentine's Day into a day of celebration of ourselves, of loving ourselves with grace and compassion and generosity and honesty and gratitude. The same feelings and emotions that we might have for a loved one. Let's turn it inward. Let's turn it to ourselves. I know for me, I was raised, obviously, as a girl and a woman, to put others first. I was taught that I needed to make other people feel important. While it was never said to me, it was definitely an unspoken intention that I would hide or I'd make myself small in order to make other people look better. Well, I've learned along the way in my 60 something years of life that that's a bunch of bull. And what it did was it deflated my own sense of self. And, long ago, I realized that love is one of those emotions that the more you have, the more it makes. So the more love you have in your heart, the more open you are to loving other people and other things. And there was no need to make myself shrink back or appear smaller in order to make somebody else feel good. When I had my second child, I realized I didn't love my first child any less because her sister came along. I loved her as much or more than I did before the sister. We learn when the first time we get into an airplane that when the oxygen masks drop from above, we need to put them on ourselves before we go to put them on someone else to take care of them. For those who may be listening who are caring for a loved one with dementia or a terminal illness, you will learn fairly quickly that you need to care for yourself in order to have a reserve of energy for your loved one. That if you keep pouring out everything that you have inside, your cup is empty. There's nothing left to pour. Which brings us to self-love. To love ourselves and to care for ourselves so that we then can, if we want to, do the same for others. I don't know about you. I also learned that self-care was selfish. More baloney. Self-care is anything but selfish. It's nurturing yourself. It's allowing yourself to have the water that the plant would have so that it can grow. A plant can't produce flowers unless it's watered, that the energy isn't there to put out the buds and the blossoms. So what is self-care? And does it have to cost a lot of money? Nope. Self-care doesn't have to cost any money. It does take some time, though. But it doesn't take hours out of your day or added to your week. Self-care can be as simple as taking a bubble bath or a shower if you prefer, a 10 or 15-minute shower. It can mean making yourself your favorite cup of tea or pot of tea or coffee if that's what you prefer. Or in my case, it's my iced tea. It can mean finding a book that you really like and spending 30 minutes in the middle of the day reading your book. One of my favorite things is to take my book and sit on my back porch when the weather is warm enough and it's sunny. I also love sitting on my porch, again, in warmer weather, when there's a thunderstorm. I love watching lightning come through the sky and crack through it. I love sitting and using my fingers to walk a labyrinth. It's time that I spend concentrated on a thought, whether it's something I want to manifest or maybe something I want to give up. And as I walk my labyrinth with my finger, I think of that. When I get to the center, I think of releasing it. And then I walk back. Self-care can be going to bed an extra half hour early. Or maybe it means going to bed later and enjoying the movie or a special show on TV. It could mean spending time with loved ones. Often, when we're grieving the loss of something or someone, we have a tendency to go inward. And in going inward, without even realizing it sometimes, we push away the people who are reaching out to us. Oftentimes, those people don't know the most gracious way of doing it. They may not have the right words, but their intentions are right. And that's what's important. And because we're in such pain, we often turn away from that. So I want to suggest that maybe you do go out and go to somebody's house for dinner. It's okay. As a matter of fact, it's normal and healthy to have conflicting emotions over things. It's okay to laugh when you're feeling sad. Sometimes some of my biggest laughter came out of like just ridiculous thoughts at times of grief. It's okay. You can laugh until you cry and then cry for a while. They can be happy tears or sad tears. What else can self care be? It could be taking your dog, if you have one, someone else's dog, if you don't have your own and like dogs, or just yourself and going for a walk. Do it, though, without having a conversation on your cell phone. You can listen to a meditation or to music. Those are all ways of caring for yourself. I have a friend who, especially when she's on a restricted diet, will make herself a meal that's full of beautiful, healthy colors, bright and exciting. Put them on a beautiful plate, arrange the food as if she were in a restaurant, set her table for herself as if she were setting it for the King of England or the Queen of England or whoever it would be, lights a candle, and then sits down to dine. And she makes it an experience. It's not like eating her food out of the takeout container. And it doesn't matter if it's takeout. You can use takeout food and put it on a beautiful plate. Arrange it in a pretty manner. Make it appealing to your eye. Self-care can also be taking the time to make your bed when you get out of it. And add an extra pillow. Add a decorative pillow. Self-care could mean taking up a hobby, something you've always wanted to do, but never allowed yourself the time. Time is one of those things that shrinks or expands, really not based on anything but what we say we need. So if you say, I don't have time, you won't have time. If you say, there's plenty of time in the day for whatever I need and want to have happen, it will. One of my favorite ways of doing self-care is to take time in the morning and often at night too, to do a gratitude list. I write down 5 things or people that I'm grateful for every morning. And I try to do more than just a simple list. What I try to do is to write why. Why is that person or thing something I'm grateful for? Is it because they made me laugh yesterday? Is it because I had the feeling of being loved by being with the group of friends I was with? Was it because I tried a new restaurant and the food was amazing? Maybe it was because the book I was reading made me think about something new, or the conversation was a challenging, deep conversation. And I was really grateful for the ability to be able to use my mind in that way. And then I try to do it at night too, because I find that we tend to minimize our accomplishments. And at the end of the month, if we're somebody who takes a toll or a totaling of what we've accomplished, we often don't know because we don't think of it. So at the end of the day, I'm grateful for having accomplished X, Y, and Z. I'll give you an example of my day today. Now, I'm recording this. It's 10:35 in the morning, 10:40. I woke at 5:30. Did I enjoy waking at 5:30? No, I'm not an early riser. However, I'm grateful that I did because I was able to snag one of only, I believe it was 5 slots to write a chapter in an upcoming collaborative book. So I'm grateful that my alarm woke me up and I was alert enough to fill out the form that I had to fill out and submit it. And what that means is that I'm going to be in my 3rd collaborative book. I'm also grateful today because I have another article that I'm going to be writing for Aspire magazine. And it's a wonderful achievement. One of my goals this year was to do more writing of articles and books and being published. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm very grateful for the creativity and the focus to be able to do that. What else am I grateful for this morning? I'm grateful that I got my dog Hershey to daycare at about 7:15 this morning, which gives me a day of better focus and not having to worry about him barking and disturbing the recording of a podcast or a call. And I'm grateful that he's going to get the chance to socialize with other dogs. And he'll come home tired, and maybe for 2 days he'll sort of lay around. He's a very large puppy with lots of energy and lots of noise. I'm also grateful for the ability to record the podcast and have Rich, my wonderful producer here, backing me up. It's an opportunity that I'm grateful for to be able to share my experiences and knowledge with all of you, the viewers. I'm also excited and grateful that I will have the opportunity to chat with the author of a book that has really been very special to me. And I'm hoping that we will chat and I will have her as a guest on the podcast. That's some of my self-care. The other self-care that costs nothing but a little bit of time are doing affirmations. And affirmations are wonderful ways of manifesting that which you want to come true. So affirmations can be things as simple as one that I read this morning, which was just very synchronistic, it was supposed to be for last week when the new moon was, And the first one was, I'm ready to start a new chapter in my life. And I laughed because of citing for the chapter in the book. So that's definitely an affirmation. It could be, I honor my emotions and allow myself to feel them fully. You could have affirmations about finding new friends or finding a new job or moving through your life transition at whatever speed and pace is right for you. The thing about affirmations is they're things that you want to come true. You have to believe that they can come true. So you need to phrase them in a way that feels okay. You can't say, I'm a millionaire, if you don't believe it's ever going to happen. But you could say, I am working my way to becoming a millionaire. I earn money easily from doing what I love. That's a healthy, great aspiration and affirmation. One of my former coaches used to talk about sort of saying a prayer and then moving your feet. So it's not enough to talk about having an affirmation and expecting it to manifest if you do nothing to help move yourself forward. So that's one of the things that self-care is about. It's about moving your feet and your body physically, or your mind, and your spirituality, your emotions, your physical body, all of the parts of you, as well as your social, towards that goal that you want. Eventually, the universe or God, whatever you want to believe is the thing, will help you to manifest that. Allow the universe to figure out how. Don't be, I have to do it this way. Just say, this is what I want the end result to be. And it will conspire to make that happen. So I'm going to leave you with this thought, that if you have an affirmation that says, I am going to successfully navigate through my current life transition, and when I get to the other side or the other shore, I will feel more confident, happier, more joyful, and more aligned with my new and revised self. Because we know that we can get through this. We will never be the same person as we were before the life transition. Then again, we'll never be the same person exactly that we were yesterday. So if we can take this and use it as a way to grow, as a way to find the silver linings and find the lessons that we're meant to learn, we will emerge stronger, healthier, and happier, all with self-love. So I'm wishing you all a very happy Valentine's Day from the bottom of my heart, because I love you and I want you to love yourself. Until the next time. If you liked what you heard on this podcast and want to hear more, please follow us and tell your friends. You can also find me on Facebook at Amy Lindner Lesser, Grief to Growth Life Coaching, and on LinkedIn at Amy Lindner Lesser. Thanks again